Very good. Well, thank you, everybody. This is Alice Emerson with the Holistic Chamber of Commerce in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina, near Charleston, South Carolina. And I am the chapter president here. And the Holistic Chamber of Commerce was started 10 years ago. And we are blessed today to have Camille Leone with us, who is the founder of the Holistic Chamber of Commerce. And she is going to share her skills and success that she's had by using social media, specifically LinkedIn. So, Camille, you want to give us a little background on how this all started and take us on your business venture?
Sure. Okay. So, ever so long ago, longer than 10 years ago, I was working in downtown LA. And my mother had a double mastectomy, and my grandmother had a stroke. And somebody probably needs to put on their mute button.
Yeah, I'm going to mute.
I think it's Nadine.
Okay, you might be right. Thank you. Anyways, I started asking my coworkers for referrals to acupuncturists, and they all looked at me cross-eyed and said, "Acupuncture? Don't they use needles? And is it covered by our insurance?" As if it didn't have any value, right? Didn't make sense to them. And this was in downtown LA, right? Progressives and liberals and all that. Nope, they didn't get it. So that was kind of the first seed of there needs to be a resource, but not just a holistic resource, a resource that's going to connect with mainstream consumers. It's not the holistic types. I mean, it's great to preach to the choir. The choir wants the preacher, and at the same time, you want to expand the size of the choir. And that means creating the bridge between mainstream and holistic. So that was kind of the first seed. And then the second seed was once I started connecting with more holistic professionals, practitioners, and business owners, it became really clear the reason why mainstream consumers can't find you all, not you personally, but other holistic types, is holistic types aren't doing any marketing. Oh, I'm not in business. So, so the people who need and want those products and services can't find them.
Yeah.
Because, and now mind you, we're 10 years in the future now. So it's gotten a little better, but we still have, frankly, we have members who don't have websites or they're not on social media. And frankly, even I am not innocent. Until March, I was not doing our monthly telecalls on Zoom. I was all like, nope, I'm good with a telecall. Give me the phone. I don't want to be,
Yeah, we're in the world of Zoom now for sure.
Yeah. All of that flying under the radar got to go away. If we want to fly high, it's so anyways, that was the root, and we've just gotten bigger and better, and it's become really clear that this is this is about both. It's about how do we connect with mainstream consumers, which is why I work social media as much as I do. There are millions of people on social media who, they're looking for the same things everybody else is, and that's where they're looking. So we need to be there. And at the same time, we're looking for ways to help our members save money, save time, make more money, and spend time the way you want to. So it's kind of both sides of the coin. And by the way, as I'm going along, I'm gonna try to monitor the chat between Alice and I. Hopefully, if you have any questions, you should be able to just put something in the chat. Alice, do you want me to just jump into the rest of it and start squaring my sheen? sharing my screen.
Sharing your screen. Well, you know what? Thank you so much. And I'm glad you gave the history of this. And it is true that the holistic community has really advanced so much since you started. And I was so glad that this was available, because in my own personal journey with my cancer diagnosis, that I searched and I went everywhere looking for holistic. I knew I didn't want to get back into the medical wheel for me. I just knew that I needed to find my answers elsewhere. So I was so glad that I was able to find holistic practitioners and services, but it wasn't an easy search. So then when I got back from my retreat in Costa Rica, I thought there's got to be a better way. And we found you. And I found you. And that's how this chapter here in Mount Pleasant has started. And we have a great community here. And so if there's not one in your area, I guess the point in that is, if you don't find one in the directory search, which I'm sure you're going to share, you can potentially start your own chapter and share, because I think the world is ready now for more and more of what we have to offer in this community. So yes, so there is the chat box that's there, and thank you everybody for joining us. If you have any questions or comments while Camille is presenting, then put them in there and I'll monitor that for you, Camille. So yeah, so share your screen and we'll go from there. Thanks.
Okay. I guess that's the screen I want to share. Okay, so I'm actually going to start on our website. And the reason I'm starting on our website is, for those of you who are members, I want you to see the way our website optimizes your social media. And for those of you who are what I call future members, you haven't signed up yet, but you're gonna one of these days, I want you to see some of the capabilities of our website. And I'll just admit, like 2 months ago, the whole world was tilted and we all had to pivot. And that includes the Holistic Chamber of Commerce. I mean, for a very long time, we've been showcasing our local community-based chapters, which I love. That's the local network that we all need. Frankly, part of what's happened in the last couple of months is we've seen, it's not just, are we online? It's also, who do we know near us? Who's in our local community that can help make things work here where we are? But we've also seen it's important to be online and make sure we're connecting even when we're not doing that face-to-face networking. So we, shifted some of our messaging so that we could make it clear that we're just as present and active online as we are in our chapters. And by the way, kudos to presidents like Alice, who also pivoted so quickly and said, oh, our next meeting needs to be on Zoom. I'm going to have to figure that out. Lucky you. That's the fun of this. All right. So what I want you to see, for those of you who are members or going to be members, is on your directory listing, you can link directly to your Facebook, your LinkedIn, your Twitter, and your Instagram. So anybody who finds you on our website, they can click on these links and it's gonna, oh, look at that, I've got a weird glitch. Anyways, they can click on these links and it's gonna automatically open up your social media so they can connect with you directly that way. Or they can click on your website, go directly to your website. Now, since we're talking about LinkedIn today, I'm going to just click on LinkedIn. Let me close that. We don't need to go back there. All right, so this is a down and dirty, quick and easy introduction to the key elements of your LinkedIn profile. I am not going in depth, so short, sweet, and to the point. And I'm also going to show you a couple of really fun and powerful things to do on LinkedIn, both to kind of improve your LinkedIn search engine optimization, and also improve some of your relationships on LinkedIn with customers, clients, colleagues. So, okay, so first thing is have a good photo. I really prefer a personal photo. I think people want to see who you are. If I'm going to hire you, I kind of want to see who I'm going to be doing business with. The other thing is put in a cover photo. It doesn't have to have your logo, but good gracious, if you've got a logo, put something together. We do sometimes use graphic artists to put together nice graphics. We also sometimes, I also sometimes go, oh my gosh, I want to do this. And I put together something, I'll put it together in a Word document, and then I'll take a snip of it and turn it into a JPEG or a PNG, and I'll use it that way. So, you know, depending on what your budget is, sometimes you got to kind of wing it yourself, and other times you get to hire a professional to do it for you. Either way, the nice thing about any social media is you can put it together so it looks good, and you don't necessarily have to go back in and update it over and over and over again. Frankly, you can go in every other day, every 3 days, or once a day, and simply do a quick share to make sure it's active. But the basic profile, once you put it together, you don't have to make that many changes. I do periodically change my personal picture. Periodically, we update the cover photos, but you know, if it's just you, keep it simple. But I will say LinkedIn has led to new members for us. It's led to new chapter presidents for us and for our members. It's a great place to find your customers, your clients, your patients. People on LinkedIn are working. Either they're the business owner or they're an employee, but either way, they get the importance of staying healthy, being healthy. They're goal-oriented. They know the importance of, you know, setting goals and reaching them. They know the importance of healthy relationships. So all that stuff is relevant for what you do. And mostly they're working, which means they can actually afford to pay you for your products and services. Yay. Okay, so you can see when you're looking for your profile in general, you're going to end up on a page where you can edit your profile, even though when somebody else is looking for you, they're going to end up on a page that just shows them what you have. But if you can't find your editing possibilities, then go up under, these dang things. Go up under your little me button and click on the down arrow, and you're going to see where it says view profile, and that's going to let you make your changes there. Okay. If you have a company page, which we do, you can also easily get to your company page here. All right, so let's see. I'm going to scroll down on here a little bit. I'm just going to show you, you have an about section. You definitely want to update your about section. Remember, all the words in these sections feed your search engine optimization. That's a good thing. Right, so you can put a lot of stuff in here, lots of keywords that are going to bring you up in all kinds of searches. And then just remember you want to click on the save button when you make these changes. Wow, look at this, 14,152 followers. So here's the other reason I like LinkedIn. On Facebook, I can only have 5,000 friends. Now my company page can have as many followers as follow. Right now we're at close to, I don't know, I'm losing track. We're at about just over 10,000 followers on Facebook. But here on LinkedIn, I can have up to 30,000 followers. Friends. They're friends. They're relationships. And by the way, yes, I went to a conference in New York City and was walking the conference floor. And when I introduced myself to one of the vendors there, he said, "Oh, I know you. We're connected on LinkedIn." Oh my gosh. Like, I was floored. But it was clear he felt like we had a connection. And that's a good place to be when you're meeting somebody. They already feel connected to you. Yay. Okay, so, and from my point of view, all the better means that 14,000 people, when I make a post, they're seeing, we appreciate our member Jennifer Sides. They're seeing we're glad to have our member Karen Raymond. They're seeing that all of our members have up to 5 hyperlinks. Let's see if I can go down to, all right, oh, by the way, yes, you have your experience. So think of this as a resume. For those of you, by the way, who have an old LinkedIn profile that you haven't made updates to, strong recommendation that instead of starting from scratch, you go into your old profile and update it with your new job or your new business. If you already have 500 connections or 1,000 connections or even just 100 connections, why would you start over? And don't you want all those other people, those old friends and colleagues of yours, to know what you're doing now? Yeah, you do. Some of them really need what you're doing now. So that's really my recommendation, is to just make updates and go from where you are now. Anyways, interesting, right? You can see I clearly work the HCC, and I have some of my other stuff up, but there are no photos up. Like, you don't have to go all the way back and dredge up your past. How many of you give that coaching to your clients? Just look at where you are now and get updated where you are now so you can move into your future. Okay, so now I also want to show you, let's see if I can get to it. So I'm just going to go here. If I go under me, I go under our posts and activity. For those of you who are members or going to be members, I'm an approved publisher on LinkedIn. So I'm posting articles on a fairly regular basis that are designed to drive people back to our website and start considering holistic products and services and options, right? We want people to go to our website in order to find our members. For you, right, you want people to think, oh, click here, and you want them to go to your website, right? So, or you want them to think, oh, do I need some essential oils? Oh, really? You can do Reiki by distance? I've never tried that. Let me try that, because I'm not going in person these days, but I could definitely use some stress relief. So, you know, think of it that way, and you can easily post, and if it gives you the option to publish an article, sometimes it's worth it if you're doing something that's longer. Okay. And yes, we all know that while text is good, people do respond when they see a photo. So if you can create a quick and easy photo or a graphic, by all means do so. Okay. If you're looking for somebody, just go up to the search bar. I'm real quickly going to search for Holistic Chamber of Commerce. You can see, you start putting in your word, it's going to come right up. Might take a little while to load, but then you're going to get there. For those of you who are participating with the HCC. We'd love to have another follow, because the more people are paying attention to this page, the more people are going to be getting click-throughs to our directory, and that's going to send them over to you. Something to keep in mind with any social media is you can create a concept, an idea that's going to be a post, and you don't have to do, you know, one thing over on Facebook, one thing on LinkedIn, another thing on Instagram. You can take the same post and just rework it. Something on LinkedIn might be a little longer and have a little more information, but in general, you can take that same idea or concept and also put it on Facebook, and also put it on, you know, Instagram is of course just the short, sweet, there's a photo of it. But either way, it's like, okay, what's the idea that I can just set up in 3 different formats so it can go in 3 different locations, and maybe also put it up on your website if it's easy to add things to your website. That rocks. All right, so now, all right, I'm gonna just see. Alice, is there anything in the chat that I should, why can I not see the chat from here? I can't see the chat from here.
I had asked who was on LinkedIn, and so I know Janelle and Andy had answered yes that they are, but I know that I've seen several profiles, probably of everybody that's on here.
Oh, look, there's Andrew Fry.
There we go. So you can search and see. There we go.
Okay, so it's pretty easy. I'm already connected with him. If you're not connected, just look him up. There's going to be probably a connect button right there. So you can just click on it. Odds are he's going to say yes. Right, Andrew? You'd say yes to pretty much anybody, right? It's interesting, by the way, this is a numbers game, but I do not accept connection requests from everybody. If there is not a photo, if I don't know them personally, then I'm not going to accept that connection request. I do sometimes look at where somebody is located, because that just sometimes lets me know, is this a legitimate person or not? LinkedIn is no more perfect than Facebook. I know, hard to believe, isn't it? But when your company is that big, things come up. So Alice, I'm going to use you. Look at this lovely.
Mine definitely needs some updating. So,
but it does say chapter president at Holistic Chamber of Commerce. I love that. So, and Charleston, South Carolina area, because some people won't necessarily know where Mount Pleasant is, but they will know where Charleston is. So, I think in cases like this, you definitely want to show the bigger city. All right, so now, oh, do I want to endorse Alice for leadership?
Yes, please.
Just click endorse. Like if you know somebody, it helps them out. And then when they come back to you, they're going to do the same thing, right? Now, let's step that up a little bit, because you guys are all members. You're all reference reviewed. So we know you're all good at what you do. So now I want you to scroll down and just pick somebody, right? Anybody that you know and love, respect, and trust. Scroll down. You're going to see their skills and endorsements section. So it's easy to endorse them for more, but here's what most people miss. Recommendations. So go above and beyond that little, I'm just going to click, take a second, recommend to Alice. How do I know Alice? Well, we're not going to talk about that. I usually say, even for our chapter presidents, I worked with Alice in the same group. My Alice's position, right? Chapter president at Holistic. So really simple, like I don't have to think that hard. It's not going to take me a lot of time. Next. Okay, Alice, just because I don't want to take a lot of time right now, I'm just going to go Alice Emerson rocks. I love having her as a chapter president. You don't have to spend a lot of time on these things. It's not rocket science. Now, Alice is actually going to get a notification. She's going to either be able to accept and approve it, or she's going to be able to, look, already, she's going to be able to say, yeah, I love that. Of course I want to show it. Or she's going to get back to me and go, really, Camille, could you not give me a little bit more like dependable, committed, trustworthy, friendly, whatever. It's up to you, Alice. I just wanted everybody here to see that. It's really, it looks good. She's got 7, she's gonna have 8 recommendations. Like, that looks good. The other thing that is really fun to do, and so Jane, I'm gonna pick on you for this. Not pick on you, but you know. So here's the other thing that's really fun to do. Looks good for you, looks good for the other person. And by the way, yes, the other people can do it back to you, but if you start by taking a few minutes and giving, then they'll give back and you'll get to be receiving, right? And it is a circle, giving and receiving, giving and receiving. If you're always giving, you're gonna get burnt out. If you're always receiving, then some people are gonna think that's not so fair. So let's give and receive. Okay, so now on this more button, I want you to click there. Give kudos. So you can see, by the way, if you want to recommend, you can get to it from here. You can also request a recommendation, but this is the other fun thing. Give kudos. So lots of different options. I can just do a simple thank you, going above and beyond, inspirational leader, team player, great job, making work. Look, all these options. But again, set up so I just don't have to think that hard. Thank you, Jane Dye. Next. Gives me a nice little post. I mean, frankly, I don't have to do anything more. Now I do because it's me. And I do like to personalize things, but we have the longest hashtag in the world, by the way, hashtag Holistic Chamber of Commerce. Right? And then done. It's going to show up both on my feed and also on Jane's feed. So it makes Jane look good because she's getting recognition from somebody else. And it makes me look good because I'm giving recommendations. My God, do we not get sick of people who are always and only talking about themselves? Oh, let me tell you what I do. Oh, let me tell you about my product. Oh, let me tell you about my service. It looks good for you when you're giving recognition to somebody else. And LinkedIn really makes it super easy to do it. Okay, so those are kind of some of my basics. What are some other questions? Anything else I can show you here, though I should just...
I have a couple comments here that were in the chat box.
Okay.
One, Jane had mentioned that she likes, when we were talking about accepting invites from other people, she likes to engage people in messaging before she accepts the invite.
Oh.
And see if they have mutual connections and create a bit of a connection before accepting blindly. Is that correct, Jane? You can unmute.
Yeah, when I see somebody, I know that like they're a connection to me, but we've never met. I'm not going to accept just because we're a connection. So we'll just have a conversation on messaging and kind of get clear why they want to connect. But I have somebody right now who reached out to me who I know one other person, and they're talking about podcasts and interviews. And I'm just not quite sure until I have a conversation. I get to look at some of their links and how they engage. I asked a question that they didn't answer. So I always find that interesting and insight that if I'm directly asking somebody and they don't give me the answer to my question, I don't see that necessarily as they're really messaging in a way that works for me. So it's a way to have a conversation before, because a lot of people I don't know. And I'm not, like Camille said, I'm just not going to connect just because I get an invite to boost my numbers.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Not
And
everybody has the same approach, and you really have to figure out what's going to work for you. Right.
Absolutely. But it is a nice way to see whether or not somebody, especially if you have a mutual connection, whether somebody might be a good fit. And I did actually get some initial consultations for people I met that way.
So it's great that you said that. So I've gone to Maria Gamitro's profile because I want to show you something else, because I think this can also be helpful when you're, especially if you're new on LinkedIn or you're just trying to, find the people you do know who are here. You can usually, not always, some people do set their privacy up differently, but you can usually go to somebody and click on their connections. And then what it's going to show you is, look, all right, Joan Tompkins and I actually have 1, 2, 20. We've got a total of 25 shared connections.
Interesting.
So I could theoretically send her a connection request and she would see that we have 25 connections and she could decide based on that. Or she could message me back and say, hey, what got your attention? Wow, that little shakiness thing might drive me a little up the wall, right? And I see, okay, here's Andy Shin, and we have 7 mutual connections, right? So that's another way, if you're new or just trying to grow your relationships on LinkedIn, is to go to somebody you already are connected with, look at their connections. But I don't scattershot. I'm not sending connection requests to everybody. I'm going, all right, here's somebody in New Orleans. We've already got 30 connections in common. Maybe it would make sense to send him a connection request. Right?
Can I just make a comment here? And Colleen had made this comment as well, but about connections. She had made a comment that she was told that 500 plus connections really gives you that credibility. And so this is one way of really bringing those connections to you if you are just starting out, is to go with the people that you know and try to link up that way with common interest and common connections. Because you have, what, 14,000? That's quite a network.
I think, so influence, we'll just talk about influence because social media is an influencing game. Influence shows up in different ways, right? There are mastermind leaders who might have a close-knit group of 10 connections. And with those 10 people, their influence is powerful, right? And then there are other influencers that have 14,000 or 140,000 connections, right? And they are also influencers, but in a different way. But yes, definitely when you're on LinkedIn, because what's the first thing people see? So we'll just go back to me, right? On my profile, people see that 500 plus connections. So it gives me a certain level of credibility. Probably means that I really am a real person, despite the fact that my cover photo, my personal photo is so sassy. There you go. That's me. I'm sassy. And then obviously people, when they go look for the articles and they see I have, 14, then they go, oh, wow. Like maybe I do want to be connected to her, even though she didn't respond to my direct message. And it's up to you how you want your garden to grow. There are 330 million people in the US. There are 36 million people in Canada. There are plenty of people for all of us. We don't all have to be the same. And actually, I think the world's a better place if we're not all the same. But we want everybody to have access to what is going to help them create their best life. And sometimes that's somebody who's local to us. And sometimes that's somebody who's in another state or another country. But social media really allows us to create connections that are close to home and also close to wherever. So I'll just give you an example. I have an aunt in Maryland. She's not that close to any of our local chapters. So we don't have we have a few members that are, I think we have 3 chapters in Maryland right now. So we have a few members that are kind of within driving distance. But if I'm looking for an acupuncturist in Annapolis, there you go. You can do that in LinkedIn. And the acupuncturists on LinkedIn, while they're not reference checked, I can go to this one. She's in Baltimore. She's on the other side. I can go over here. I can scroll down. I can see her education. Oh, one of our partners, Maryland University of Integrative Health. I can see, so she's clearly not working her endorsements or her recommendations. But she does look like a professional, and potentially I'd be happy to refer my aunt to her, right? I'd rather have her as a member of the Holistic Chamber of Commerce first, though. So right, in my case, I can decide to connect or not. She's only got 62 connections. She's not working LinkedIn. So
you highly recommend us not only updating, recommending, giving badges and kudos to our other Holistic Chamber members, but to our community and people we've done business with, give, referrals to, and even ask for, because, asking for referrals is common. And when you put in the subject, in the about section, did you use hashtags in there, or do you use hashtags often?
That's an interesting question. I don't use a lot of hashtags on LinkedIn. Don't ask me why. I do when I'm making a post. Partially because LinkedIn makes it so easy for me to, okay, so where am I? Home. We'll go to home. Start a post. Right? So I don't have to think. It's got add hashtag right here. And once I do this, love showing people what I love about. See, look, it's coming up with hashtag recommendations for me. What I love about LinkedIn. Hashtag Holistic Chamber of Commerce, hashtag lucky, hashtag gratitude. Post done. There are also some really good business influencers here on LinkedIn. I'm going to show you one of mine. I don't get paid for showing you this guy, but I've read a few of his books. He's a shark. And I've seen him put out some really good input, ideas, insights about being in business. I know he uses an acupuncturist, and I think he's got a good holistic approach to what it's about. And here's part of what I'll say about being in business. If Big Pharma is serious about being in business and we're scared of it, then they're going to stay big and we're going to stay small. And if we get more comfortable with, oh, I'm in business and this game is about creating relationships so that more people have access to me and the products and services and solutions that I sell, that's a win-win.
Absolutely. We do have to have a bigger voice and not be afraid at all of being in business, which I do find sometimes in the holistic, because everybody loves what they do it for free, right?
Yes,
But
that's
I,
right. Oh,
these are excellent tips for, yeah, definitely take it serious, build the network, spread the word, and let let the holistic voice be heard now more than ever.
So, okay, I think I'm done with all of what
Well, perfect. Well, thank you very much.
what I plan to say.
Yes, so optimizing with LinkedIn and creating relationships on LinkedIn, and yeah, thank you. Well, Camille, thank you very much for being with us, and I just want to give a quick, I can stop the recording, but I would like to recognize that we have members and guests here as well. So with Jane being the Senior VP, Jane Dye, yes, and Colleen Sabados is here. And Andy Fry, thank you very much. We're hosting our meetings there at his location in Mount Pleasant and in downtown Charleston. And Christina DeLeon with Latch On to Health. Alex Wises, and she is with the Juice Plus. Yes, and Janelle Solomon, and she does the thermography with BTI and doing the scans. And we've done some lives with, I think, almost everybody that's on here. So, really giving them an opportunity to share what they do. So all of that's posted on the Mount Pleasant Holistic Chamber of Commerce Facebook page. And Nadine Richter has visited, and she is a functional medicine doctor here in the local area. So we look forward to her joining us sometime soon. So is there anything else that you would like to, I don't mind stopping the recording and letting everybody do introductions, or we can record as well and share. So any suggestions on that? Anybody have an opinion? Okay, well, thank you. I'm going to stop the recording. And I would love to be able to hear from everybody. If you'd like to meet the members that are here with us today. Camille, I would like for you to meet some of our people here.
That'd be fun. Well, I'm still here for the next few minutes. So
Okay.